Good evening. Welcome to Southeastern 16's basketball reaction. We got a couple of games in the books. Alabama has gone to Columbia, South Carolina, blown out the Gamecocks. Ole Miss goes on the road, gets a win at Arkansas, and we've got Oklahoma and A&M in the first half as we're doing this. Gentlemen, I guess the headliner tonight, Ole Miss, Malik go into Fayetteville, and I think the home opener for the Razorbacks, that's right, because they were in Knoxville on Saturday, pull a mild upset there. I think we didn't really know what to think of that one coming in. We all have mixed feelings. Do Theo very good for the Hogs once again, but Ole Miss just kind of, Max, just ran the shot clock down to nothing for about the last 6 or 7 minutes. Hit not a lot of shots, but hit enough, and walks out with the big win.
Yeah. Did we all? Was that a sweep? Was that a kiss of death? I was trying to go back and look real quick. No.
Nope.
Who picked Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick Ole Miss. Did we all? Okay, I didn't realize we all picked Arkansas.
What?
I thought I was going to own that one by myself.
Yeah. No. I'm pretty sure that was
Blake
the second.
Scurrying for the scoreboard.
That was the second. That was the second kiss of death. Nature's in here. Thank you guys for saying Arkansas was going to win. I think that was the third game where I said I'm confident in a result. So now that's 0-3 on confident results. So hey, if I say I'm confident, run away. No, but really the game is just disappointing for Arkansas. I thought this was a primed bounce back spot at home. You're catching Ole Miss off a win it wasn't the prettiest, but it's not like they're going to come in just must-win desperation mode. So I thought this was a great spot. I mean, just how many times did Ole Miss have a shooter there just wide open? Blake, we were watching it together. That Malik three there, he didn't even have to jump. It was a free throw from the three-point line. He was so wide open. Just a lot of mental errors, a lot of stuff that was just. It seemed like should be fixed by now. So a little bit worried here about the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, I think actually I picked Ole Miss, didn't I? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I picked Ole Miss, did I not?
Nope.
I can't do that. Okay. All right. Well, we had some confusion, so I was trying to steal one there, but since Chris got us off on that foot. But all right, since I can't steal that pick, I will say this. The one thing I think I said going into this game, and I said it to someone on the radio this morning, was I said, if you're looking at the pessimistic view for Arkansas here, it is think about the idea of a John Calipari offense versus a Chris Beard defense, right? I mentioned that in the preview too. And I said that's the one thing that should probably give you a little bit of pessimism as to whether Arkansas is going to pull this off. And when you just look at the numbers and you watch this game, I never feel like, maybe early on, right? I mean, because they were up. What was Arkansas up early? I don't remember. But it never looked like a team that at any point, like offensively, just looked like they were in a rhythm or like any sort of just, I don't even know what it was, right? That extra something. Like it just wasn't there. And how many times have we said that before with Cal's teams, right? I mean, and look, I keep saying, I go back to this, but we identified very early on that if you're looking at this just from Arkansas's perspective, don't worry, we're going to give the Rebels their credit here, but we obviously have a lot of Arkansas fans. But if you look at this from Arkansas' standpoint, one of the biggest fears we had was, hey, if this team can't shoot the ball better, they're going to be in trouble. And again, throw out the games where they beat the teams they should have beat by 30 or more points or whatever, where they shot it well. In these kind of games against good defensive teams, can they shoot the ball well enough, right? That was a clear question, I think, because they just come off a game where they scored 52 against Tennessee. They went 6 of 29 from three, and it was just, clang, 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 clang. Like they were missing wide open shots at times. And then again, you look at this game. So now, if you take that, the last two games here, if you look at it, and I mean, even go further, right? They've lost 4 games now this season. They went 5 of 20 against Baylor from three for 25%. Against Illinois, they went 5 of 17 for 29%. Against Tennessee, they went 6 of 29 for 21%. Against Ole Miss, they go 5 of 23 for 22%. the game gets much simpler if you can just hit shots. They can't hit shots from outside against good teams. And that is a problem because why? It's one thing if you just can't hit shots. It's another thing of are you going to run the kind of offense you need to get the shots you need, to get guys better shots on the perimeter. I'm not sure they can right now. So that's a double whammy for me.
Well, I mean, it's an offensive-oriented league. We've said, all but 3 teams have hit 100 points at some point this season. And I think this is what's got to be frustrating for Arkansas. You finally get 15 out of John L. Davis tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fland and Wagner go, a combined 9 for 33? Which that was over half their shots between those two guys. I mean, Thero took 12, which I guess is a good amount, but I'm almost thinking like he's almost the only guy that to say he's the only guy that scares you is not fair. They have plenty of guys that have a track record of making plays and having big scoring games, but they're just not doing it right now. I wonder if DJ Wagner, the career seems to have, I don't know if the word stagnated is too hard, but I mean, he was the number 1 prospect in the country, junior in high school, dropped down about 10 spots, was okay at Kentucky last year, not great. I don't think he's markedly better this year. Jonas Adu's giving them nothing.
Yeah, and where was it? Skylar brings up a good point. Without Thero having his breakout year, and breakout is like cutting it short a little bit. This guy's been incredible.
One of the most improved players. Yeah.
He's really. Did you see the dunk he had tonight? The couple of dunks he had tonight?
And some of the blocks, too.
Amazing. Yeah.
Look like Max.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But it brings up a great point. I mean, Carter Knox not really panning out against the elite competition. Billy Richmond, I love his hustle, but just not much. Doesn't give you much on the perimeter offensively. Yeah, I mean, and you got to credit Ole Miss too. I mean, hey, you go to Memphis, you really get knocked around. First bad game, right? Well, only bad game. And then you turn around, you hold Georgia to 51, you hold Arkansas to 66. I know Georgia and Arkansas aren't, the best perimeter offenses, but still two nice defensive performances. The Ken Pom defensive efficiency is up to 26th in the nation. And that's up from 141 last year. So, I mean, hey, there's some big improvements there. And also, I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. 2 things. JC Hoops tweets, it was right around midway through the second half, maybe a little bit more towards halftime. He goes, Ole Miss's offense tonight. Back down in the post, straight line drive, ball screen, switch, 3-ball. Hogs haven't stopped it. It was just all night. There was no adjustment. But the other thing that I wanted to get to was that this was, I think, the first game all year where John Bull, Dia, and Brakefield were on the floor at the same time. I mean, so like Ole Miss was kind of experimenting, trying to find a lineup that stuck in the beginning there, not really cohesive. So, I don't know.
Let's talk about Malik jump shot. All right, because it's trending in the chat right now.
You mean shot? There's no jump.
Let's talk about his shot. All right, because it is trending in the chat at this moment. Everybody's talking about what he's got going there. So yeah, it is a thing of beauty. And again, his 3 was the one that put this game away with whatever a minute to go. So
I'm disappointed in Max when he started the RJ Melendez is the best old man game. Buddy, you clearly whiffed on that one.
What are you talking about?
Dia, come on.
Dia jumps like he's 18 years old. He can jump through the roof. I don't.
So you're saying he's saving his legs for like the pickup
I'm just saying he's got old man
days,
jump shot
30 years from now? Maybe.
I think
maybe
he's
it's a smart move.
Explosive monster. That's Dia though. Like that's what they got him for, right? Was games like this where he can just match up nightmare, break you down, close out too strong. He's gonna fly by you. That's what they were looking for out of him all year.
Before we switch to Ole Miss, another Trevon Brazile was just invisible tonight.
His offensive game think back to not, I think 3 years ago when he had that game against Creighton, when his first year at Arkansas in the non-conference. He has that game against Creighton where he hits like 4 or 5 threes, and then he got injured like right after. But that's where last year Blake, I think we had him first team last year going into the season. Trevon Brazile first team.
Yeah.
We were like, this guy's a threat. Remember that Duke game? He had like 4 threes or something like that last year. He's barely shooting this year. He didn't even attempt a 3.
Well, let's spend a little time on Ole Miss for a second. We're not going to spend 20, 30 minutes on this game, but like we talked a lot about Arkansas. Well, let's talk about the winners moving forward here, because Ole Miss is in a great spot now, having won these first 2 games. And talk about somebody who's not in this great spot. We'll talk about schedules here for both these teams moving forward. But, this was important for Ole Miss because we said it. Georgia and Arkansas to start. Now they get LSU on Saturday. They're going to be a big favorite in that game. So I think there's a great chance that Ole Miss is going to be 3-0. And that's a good thing because we talked about those look-ahead type schedule scenarios. After that, next week, they're on the road at Alabama and Mississippi State. The following week, they're at home against Texas A&M at Missouri. 3 straight home games after that, which sounds great in theory, right? But they're against Texas, Auburn, and Kentucky. So it's a big stretch of games coming up. So Ole Miss doing the work early here, having a great chance to be 3-0 after a win like this. We said it. You got to hold serve at home. You go steal some on the road. Well, they've done both in the first, slate here of games. And so significant win for Ole Miss for that reason because, like we said, I told you guys, we were talking about the power rings this week. I'm like, Ole Miss's profile is not maybe as – it's not going to wow you like an Auburn or anybody like that right now, but, like, it's not bad. It's pretty good overall. And so I think now to go win a game like this on the road and get to come back home against an LSU team that is reeling to get ready for a basically 3-week stretch of what are going to be just really tight games most likely, like that's just such a significant win tonight for this team. And so, yeah, I mean, they're starting to turn it on defensively, which, as we know, trademark of the Chris Beard teams. They're playing good on the offensive end. They're playing efficient on the offensive end, I think. I think, Max, this is what it's come down to. Like, did we think Ole Miss was going to be playing games this year in SEC play 89, 87? No. Like, they're the kind of team that I think if they're going to win games this year, they're going to play these kind of games. There may be some that are 60-something, 50-something. There may be some like this that wind up being 73, 66. But I would say for the most part, this is exactly how they need it to go, to win these kind of games. So maybe they are kind of that team that's going to play a little bit differently than we'll see some of these. We're not going to play many 106, 100 games, right? And so, yeah, I think it's I like what I'm seeing for this team right now. So.
Yeah, and you put out the bracketology yesterday. I don't know what it is today, if it's been updated, but Ole Miss was a 7 seed yesterday. Let's see Ole Miss now creeping up into that top 6 line. Maybe put a few wins together and put together a 5 seed or something like that. Mm-hmm. Wow. Because, I mean, you're coming off of a missed, you wanted to make it last year in year 1. Things didn't pan out down the stretch there. SEC play kind of fell apart late after the real hot start for the Rebels. Could be back as a top 6 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk Sean Pedulla. He's been really good for him. Really, really, really good for them. If we're ranking point guards in the league, where do we slot him?
Oh boy! I mean, there's so many.
I know that's the problem, but I mean, he fits what they do perfectly.
Sam said it right here. Pedulla's he's a Max Barr player, is what he is.
No, he shoots too well.
If we could like trademark a shirt, we'd put Sean Pedulla's face on it. We'd put Max's face on it beside each other, and maybe like Step Brothers, right? Like where you got Will Ferrell and John C. Riley. You just got them right there. That's what we do. So,
trying to find the picture. Oh, I'm not going to find it. But Pedulla's got a picture from the preseason when all like the transfers do like their photo shoots and stuff. He's got a picture somewhere like on a throne, like with a king's crown on.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Once I saw that,
Yeah.
I was just like,
it's great.
I like this guy.
Yeah, tremendous. But yeah, I mean, I think again for Ole Miss moving forward, like you get that kind of performance from Dia here, big and Pedulla, as we said, just rock solid right now. I like the way things are coming together for this team. I know someone asked like, where would we rank them? Where do we rank them in the power rankings this week?
I'll tell you in a second.
Were they 9? Something like that, maybe.
They were 9. They were 1 vote behind Oklahoma at 8. So they're right there.
Okay. Well, there will be some movement in power rankings next week, as we know. We're already seeing some of that play out. So we'll see where Ole Miss winds up. Don't worry, Sanders Logistics in the chat. It's coming, folks. I know some of you are waiting on it. We'll get to Sanders Logistics here in just a bit. Don't worry. But yeah.
Mother Carol is here. This is Ole Miss is an upset team. I've heard on a few broadcasts some of the color commentators being asked like during a timeout or something, like, so who do you got to pick as a dark horse or something? Ole Miss is a pretty popular choice.
Footnote 2, no Michael Brown-Jones tonight. Out with an injury. So,
Dre Davis.
Yep.
Dre Davis is rock solid too. He just does his job, gets in, gets out, gets to the free throw line. He's a big reason why they're a little bit more consistent than last year.
Shout out to Zach.
Zach
checking in again with the super chat. Zach is on the biggest super chat streak maybe we've ever had on the channel. Yeah. Just want to say that Ole Miss deserved the game because those uniforms are awesome. I think that's the best uniform in the game right now. I'm not going to lie to you, in the SEC. I think Ole Miss blue uniforms are the best. So, sorry. Just my thing. Arkansas is in trouble. So, Matt wants to know, is this what the show has come to? People tuning in to see ad reads. Sanders Logistics must be over the moon. I mean, what can we say, Matt? It's a staple of the program these days. So, yes, there are people who are just tuning in. They aren't even basketball fans, from what I hear. I think they're just here to see where Sanders Logistics is going. And we'll find out tonight. We will find out a little bit later on. So, Sam's saying, everybody give a super chat for Chris's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris.
Sure. Great. I'll claim it.
Tell Max, happy birthday. All right. Let's do a quick
talk
reset
some Tide?
here. Before we get to Tide, there's 500 plus of you in here. If you're not hitting the like button, I don't know what's going on, but we appreciate your support. The channel, as I mentioned on Twitter, this is our 10th live stream in 5 days. So for anyone out there who thinks that we don't try to give it our all right now to cover the SEC and promote the game the best we can, we're doing everything, all right? We're getting you 10 live shows. We're doing prediction videos. We're sending emails. We're trying all sorts of stuff out there to try to give you the best experience. I put out a tweet today, Max. You saw it. I said, hey, SEC basketball fans, who would you like to see on the show? What coaches out there would you like to see come on the show with us? Tons of responses. You can go find that on Twitter. Give your thoughts on who you think should join us. We've already got some messages out to try to make that happen. Get some interviews for you guys. So
we're trying.
We're doing our best here. We're trying to promote the game. Let us promote the game. All right.
Well, I like your thoughts on gatekeepers.
Oh, God, Chris. Here we go. Caroline says, this is not caroline.smith, by the way. Love the show. Keep it up. We appreciate that. Brett, Big Baller Brett's here. Ready to talk about the Tide. Because Big Baller Brett don't care about nothing but the Tide. So let's talk about the Tide. So people want us to have John Calipari on in the chat. I'm not sure it's going to happen, folks. All right, let's talk about the Tide real quick. Alabama gets a big win at South Carolina. In what, Max? If we're going to keep tally here, I must say this was a blowout. All right,
it was.
Let's call it what it is.
It was.
No one got blown here. Somebody got blown out. Alabama 88, South Carolina 68 in this game. If you didn't get that joke and you're tuning in for the first time, you'll probably never watch this again. But trust me, there's something to it. Alabama, yeah, just this was the kind of game we said, Max, we're like, knowing like even the Miles Studi thing, right? We're just thinking South Carolina offensively, can they do enough in a game like this? And, the answer was no. I mean, it was just such a difference. Alabama did not shoot a lot of threes in this game, but at least the percentages are going to go up a little bit because they did shoot 42% here, 8 of 19 in this one. Now, if you're Nate Oates, one thing that's probably not too happy about is that they went 10 of 20 from the free throw line. And so, that's going to be something where like, hey, let's shoot a few extra ones at practice tomorrow. You don't want to see that in any game, no matter how much you win by. But just kind of, it was like Alabama won on the glass, that they were just the better team. And I think that's it. Like, and when Alabama plays like this offensively, and again, it still probably wasn't a perfect performance in their eyes, they're going to be hard to beat. And especially, I think, against a team like South Carolina, as we've seen, it's just, I mean, they had, 4 bench points tonight? And like Murray-Boyles had 6 points. So it's like, I keep saying, Max, like it's the same thing. I just, I don't know. Like, I just think South Carolina, we said, are they going to be a team that maybe upsets some teams at home this season? I think it's going to be the right matchup because right now, like, it just, I don't know. When they play a team like this, I'm not confident about it. So
I think you guys buried the lead. Mark Sears basically sealed that game in the first half.
Yeah, I mean,
he was awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, guys. I don't know if South Carolina is gonna win many games this conference season. The offense from the guards is just not there like it was last year. We said it like a million times this offseason. We picked Cam Scott to be like up in those freshman lists also on the basis of they need him. They need Cam Scott to work out because they don't have any other choice in the backcourt. And now with Studi out, really hope he gets better, by the way. Thank God they caught that thing early. But with Cam Scott just not being ready, to fill those shoes and really produce, this league is just not going to be too kind to them. I mean, Jamarii Thomas, is trying. He's trying to make some plays, but if you can take Murray-Boyles out or at least limit Murray-Boyles, they're not going to win. It's simple as that. I hate to be too hard on a team, but it's going to be a tough year.
Well, let's look at their upcoming schedule. All right. If we just look at it from this standpoint. On Saturday, they play Auburn in Columbia. Yikes. At Vanderbilt. At Oklahoma. Home against Florida. Home against Mississippi State. At Georgia. Home against Texas A&M. At Kentucky. Home against Ole Miss. At Florida.
Zach backs you up, Blake. Zach is on your same wavelength.
I mean, guys, for anybody, not just South Carolina, that's the toughest stretch probably for any team in the conference. But when you're the team that seems to be a little bit further behind, it's even more brutal, right? And like you said, Max, that's where they've got to figure out a formula that's going to work in these kind of games because it's kind of like it's that identity thing, right? Like, what is South Carolina's identity right now this season? And I think that's something where, yes, we've seen them win a game like that against Clemson. We're just trying to figure out, like, what is that? Because we talk about, South Carolina, or we talk about Collin Murray-Boyles and, like, the impact he's going to have on this team. But, yeah, so it's just kind of, let's see what they can come up with because this is a tough stretch. And meanwhile, for Alabama, I mean, again, don't look now, but, like, they've won 7 in a row here. It's like they're turning on. They've scored 81 or more points in those 7 straight games, too. They just came off of back-to-back 100-plus point games. They score 88 on the road here against South Carolina. Maybe tough to get to 100 on Saturday at A&M just because it's, who knows, A&M's down double digits here in the first half. By the way, if you're an A&M or Oklahoma fan, as we said, sometimes we have to do these a little bit earlier at nights. This depends. So we will talk about the end of that game tomorrow morning. And that's just kind of the way our schedule falls here for this show. But so I mean, I think for Alabama, like they're sitting in a really good spot, and I think the only thing you're looking at with Alabama moving forward is just that 3-point percentage is going to keep getting better. I think. Like I said, they got a tough matchup on Saturday at A&M, but I like the way the schedule sets up for Alabama. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I think they got back-to-back tough road games in the next 2 weeks at A&M and at Kentucky, but home games against Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, LSU, Georgia. They got a chance to build up nice little record here. I think heading into what the back half of their schedule. Look at their last part of their schedule, right? Even just go to the last 5 games: home against Kentucky, home against Mississippi State, at Tennessee, home against Florida, at Auburn. So, those are 5 of our top 6 teams in the power rankings right now. So, there you go. But
I thought Carolina might be able to give Alabama a game tonight, just being home, being able to muck the game up a little bit. And you look back last year, what they did. I specifically remember watching the Tennessee game. That was a 65 possession game where they won 63-59 at home. They averaged 63 possessions a game. They won games last year. You can just look at Ken Palm. I won't read them all off. But that's just what they did. They even had a 55 possession game where they beat Vanderbilt by 15. But I thought that they could do that tonight, and they just didn't. Alabama got that out to a 74 possession game. They just not able to do that against good teams. And I think Max hit on the reason. I think we've hit it before. I think Talon Cooper is one of the most 5-miss players in the league. What he could do to lead them and set the tone, I think you're right. Their guards, to me, just are not nearly up to par of what they were a year ago. And I think that's really hurting Collin Murray-Boyles, because I think clearly he's the guy everybody's scared of. But when you had the guys around him that you had last year, especially Cooper, setting everybody up, not having that this year has just caused the rest of it to just really suffer.
Yeah, and I mean, we dubbed Talon Cooper Mr. Big Shot last year. That's who he was. He was our Mr. Big Shot of the SEC. He would always he was shooting like 55% from 3 in conference play last year for months. He's like one of the best, most efficient perimeter players in the conference last year. So, yeah. Talking about Alabama though, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Cliff offensively. He just slowly looks like he's gaining some confidence offensively. But I think, Chris, you said, the main story, obviously Sears doing his thing, but Aden Holloway, man. Aden Holloway has looked, I like what I'm seeing out of Aden Holloway. And I saw a tweet, I forget who it's from, so I'm sorry, but they were talking about his 2-point percentage increase from last year. A massive increase in efficiency. Last year from 2-point, he was 34.9%. This year, 60.5%. He's almost double his 2-point percentage. So just much more efficient, much more confident offensively. And I mean, hey, 13 points, 3 assists, no turnovers, doesn't commit a foul, grabs a steal. Holloway's really important for this team.
They're nowhere near their ceiling.
Nope.
All right.
And Big Cliff took a finger to the eye tonight on top of it too.
Yep.
Had to come off.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Michael. Blake showing his usual disdain when Max speaks glowingly of Alabama. You know it, Michael. Michael always coming in with propaganda. So
Michael had a funny tweet. He said he was talking about Philon, and then every time he used a word that had F after that, it was still a PH. He's like, Philon is fearless, but PH.
Zach weighing in with the $2 super chat. Who's Aden Holloway? We know what you're up to there, Zach.
Yeah,
we know what you're up to. We know what he's up to. All right, we got 600 plus of you watching on a Wednesday night. I would say probably not the most notable slate we've had so far this year, but just because, again, I mean, Alabama was sort of I think a predictable win on the road. Ole Miss, Arkansas, we talked about there for a bit. Nice win for the Rebels. And again, we'll get to the finish of Oklahoma A&M tomorrow morning. Because tomorrow morning, our plan is to give you the usual morning show, but we're going to focus on bracketology tomorrow morning. So that's kind of our theme. We'll also talk about that in the context of who wins this Texas A&M Oklahoma game. So bring your bracketology thoughts, questions, all that good stuff, net rankings, all that fun stuff that I just absolutely love. Let's talk about that tomorrow. But all right, let's get to a couple things here. Max, what do you got?
If Texas A&M loses, it doesn't count because they didn't have Wade Taylor. If they win, it's the greatest win ever, and they're one of the best teams in the country. I just wanted to put that out there before it happens because I just checked the score, and I don't like how it looks.
Well, you heard it here first from Max Barr. So, by the way, shout out earlier to Gary. Long time. Gary not having a fun season there with the Gamecocks. That's all right, Gary. We appreciate you joining us nonetheless. So, by the way, I thought it was a great one. South Carolina's going to play Auburn like the 97 Bulls on Saturday. So we'll see if that plays out. Maybe MJ will be in the building on that one for this. But we'll see if that plays out there. All right, let's get to some of your chats. I like this one earlier. Ole Miss stole the barbecue and Sanders Logistics hauled it on out for him. So it's all right. Skyler's got another one I'm going to use as my segue, I think, for Sanders Logistics here in a few minutes. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Here's an interesting question from earlier. William asks, are we starting to see tiers develop after the first two games? Absolutely would be my response.
Fantastic question. Fantastic question. I love that question. Are we going to get into that right now?
Sure. Let's just. I mean, if you want to tier them, we can. But I think there are clear tiers at this point. So I think we're getting there.
Tiers. There's fears.
We got all kinds of stuff. Yeah. We got. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that rhymes here. All right. We got tiers. We got fears. We got Sears. My goodness. This is But yes, I think we're seeing some separation for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're starting to identify, as we said coming into conference play, there are going to be some teams that could fall off pretty quickly. And I think we're identifying who those teams could be, not maybe just because those teams aren't at the level of the other teams, but just because the schedule. Yeah, tiers, fears, and beers, plus Sears. You got to add that in there too, Donovan. So we're doing our best with that on the rhyming. But, so I think there's the clear picture that's starting to develop of the teams that may – and look, boy, this is a strange thing to say, but is Arkansas starting to fall into, a tier like that?
Yes.
Because this week, remember, Arkansas plays Florida on Saturday. It's in Fayetteville, but you're staring down the idea of being 0-3 before you hit the road 2 times next week at LSU and at Missouri, and you can say, well, you still may think Arkansas, they got a little bit better of a profile maybe than LSU, but still, it's a road game, right? At Missouri is going to be tough. And so, I don't know. That's the thing is you start to – but I do think if you're looking at the bottom, I still think we got a mess in the middle. But –
Oh, it's a mess.
Look, I think the teams at the top is very clear. Auburn, not going anywhere. I don't think Mississippi State's going anywhere. I don't think Florida's going anywhere. Tennessee, I know, just got blown out on the road, but I don't think Tennessee's dropping to the 8th best team in the league. I think they're still going to be okay.
Right.
Right. And that's where we start to see how does Kentucky respond to this? How A&M, Oklahoma, right? These are 2 teams that have kind of been in that range of what do we do with these teams. Alabama's in that upper tier for sure. So I think now, there is some separation. You're going to get even more after next week and maybe even after Saturday. Because like we said, look at the idea. What if Arkansas is 0-3? What if, how does that play out? So I think we're starting to see some of that for sure.
Yeah, I think Auburn is its own thing. Put them at the top, case closed. I think to me, the 2 teams that just deep down scare me the most right now are Alabama and Florida behind them. Tennessee, I think you just have to put an asterisk next to their name and see how they respond, which I think they will. the cold offense scares me a little bit. I think they're in that tier. I think Mississippi State, in a different way, is getting close. I think I'd put them, Kentucky, probably A&M in that next group. But it's not. I mean, it's close. And then after that, who am I missing here?
I would put
Ole Miss
State above A&M right now.
I would too.
I would
I could even argue State at 4 right now. Or 5. Maybe not
5.
4. Yeah. And I think I would. But by the way, footnote, if you want your eyes to pop out of your head, check the Oklahoma A&M box score right now.
Well, hold on. Hey, hold on. Hands raised. I don't want my eyes to pop out of my head, so I'm not checking the box score right now. Folks, do not do this. This man is trying to get your eyes to pop out of your head. Don't listen to him. Don't look at the box score. Holy cow. What are you doing, Chris? We got 700 people plus watching this thing right now. You're trying to get their eyes gone.
I'm just saying there's some stuff in there you didn't expect.
Don't do it, folks.
Max, you looking at it?
I already gave my take on this game. If they lose, it doesn't count. Okay. No, I'm just joking. If people that don't know, I've Texas A&M, Mississippi State are my bully ball teams.
No.
Okay, so we have Jace. Jace is in here. I think he said thoughts on Georgia.
Does he want thoughts on Georgia?
He wants some thoughts on Georgia. He wants some thoughts on Georgia.
Sure.
I believe AD
Georgia's
was in here earlier too, talking some Bulldogs.
Georgia's one of those interesting teams. Like, where do we put them right now? Because like they did get a big win, but as we said, the game before it was ugly against Ole Miss, but it looks better now because Ole Miss is 2-0. So it's like, one of those things. So by the way, Zach's eyes are gone. We apologize. He just looked at the box score and can no longer see. So that's it. But Georgia, I think, is, they're another one of those teams that, where do we kind of place them? Big home win, and I think that's going to be some separation too. We're going to be able to separate teams by who's able to serve hold at home, right? Georgia plays Oklahoma on Saturday in Athens. So, hey, listen. Why don't you go look at the box score?
The garage is frozen in your brain.
My goodness. Why don't you go look at the box score? How about that? All right?
Yeah.
Go look at the box score. How about that, huh? It's getting a little cold out here. I'm not going to lie. Like in the past 5 minutes, I feel like it's gotten 10 degrees
You're wearing
colder.
a Blue Jays shirt for a reason.
It's a little colder. But nonetheless, we'll get to Sanders Logistics, who may help me warm up a little bit later on. But anyways, yeah, so we'll sort these tiers out. I mean, we got Saturday slate's a big slate. If we want to just go ahead and start to look ahead, we'll give you guys the look ahead here on this. But Auburn's at South Carolina. Alabama's at A&M. Mississippi State hosts Kentucky. Ole Miss hosts LSU. Florida is at Arkansas. Tennessee's at Texas. Who have we not said? Georgia, Oklahoma. Vanderbilt, Missouri hosts Vanderbilt. That's an interesting game. So, yeah, there's more movement to be had with these. So,
Matt has just been hilarious in the past few minutes. I've been chuckling every time Matt has said something talking about the Bulldogs. Fun fact on the Bulldogs, just because I just thought of it and just remembered it. Blue Kane, his real name is Chris Kane. And I'm fascinated by that because I think Chris Kane is an awesome name. Chris Kane for 3. Drains a 3. Chris Kane, drains. Yeah, you can just I like that name. Fun fact.
I need to know how he got the nickname.
We've done too many streams. We've just been rhyming for the last 10 minutes. What are we doing? So
we're just talking hoops.
Out of control. We're just talking hoops. What do you guys want to talk about? Come on, there's 700 plus of you in here. What do you want to talk about? Let us know. Yeah, we still got some time here. What do you want to discuss? Super chats are welcome. It just means more tier members. Join in on with those guys. We're almost up to 100 members now. How about that? That's pretty cool.
Woo.
100 paid members here at the channel. Appreciate you guys jumping in, joining the membership, and yeah, you guys are the best. So, John C., he wants the video of Blue Kane's flop. $2 super chat. He's paying for it. All right. So
I don't know. I don't have it saved
Give the
anywhere,
people
but
what they want, Blake.
I did see it.
$2.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. Holly wants Sanders Logistics. Don't worry, we're almost there.
That's what I meant.
DJ, Big Dirty.
Oh,
Great name as well.
yes.
I think that's what they call Max. I think 10-8 may be an awesome record in the SEC. I think 10-8 may be an awesome record in the SEC. Listen, 10-8. If you go 10-8 in this league this year, you are about as much of a lock to make the tournament as like an auto bid team. Like you're 100% in the tournament if you go 10-8 in this league. So yeah, you're absolutely in. If you go 9-9, you're also getting in. So
I got it.
Oh boy.
I got to
Here
share
we
this.
go.
It's from our good friend and Silas we trust, who was in here yesterday. I'm just got it on repeat.
That's tremendous. That's
Listen,
tremendous.
He was right there,
man.
too.
That
not
takes
sure. You
skill.
Oh, my goodness. That's awful.
That
You
takes
see that
skill,
elbow
okay?
extended there.
Yep. Whoa!
What a shove.
Right.
Listen, we don't know how much Jackson Robinson's bench pressing. We have no idea. Like he could be his pinky may be all it takes, just a little shove, and that man he's halfway across the lane, right? So we don't know.
That is
I can't prove it.
personal, flagrant, intentional, technical, on purpose.
Best comment ever. Is that primetime Shawn Michaels taking the bump? The Heartbreak Kid
Hater.
flying through. Just took the super kick. He's out of there. So, Chris, what do you think? Did you think that's primetime Shawn Michaels?
That's what I was thinking, of course.
Yeah, it should be what you're thinking.
You knew it.
So-
you know me, Blake.
You should be. You probably watched all of those.
Just
Yeah.
hope Luke Kane's okay.
Well, he's got a future in the WWE, if you ask me. But, anyways, all right. Let's see. That's a great question. Hold on. I think we missed a couple of things. Let me scoot up a little bit. Will the SEC championship mean more this year with how much improved these teams are? Auburn got shafted on the seeding last year. Now, if you're talking SEC tournament, will it mean more this year in terms of the champion? I got my answer. Absolutely not. I hate to say it.
Hasn't
Like
been a
I think
thing the last few years.
until the SEC moves this championship game to Saturday, I just don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it changes anything. We've just seen it too many times on Sunday. The committee has their bracket. They can say what they want, but like teams just don't move unless you're a bubble team. Then it matters. The other teams, I feel like just there's no movement no matter what happens in the SEC tournament. So
I think they're just too lazy to do the work once we get past like Thursday night.
yeah. No.
And every time we say this going into it, and then there's like a bubble type of win where we're like, well, they can't ignore this. And
They do.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting. I know what you're going to get to in a second, Max, but how many SEC games does Auburn have to win to make the tournament? I think it's such a great question because, like, I mean, at this point, I'm like, Auburn could win maybe
6 more wins and they're a
they
lock.
could win like. I think they can win like if they go 7-11, Auburn may still be like a.
They could
like
go
a 7
6
seed.
and 10 and be in.
I mean that, but listen, that's how the non-conference performance, historic level. That's like I'm laughing about this because it's true. Like they could legitimately win like 7 games in the SEC and still be like a 7 seed or something. Just because
I
of
think
what
they
they
could
did.
probably go win 5 more and be in with what they built up.
Well, if they win 6 games in the SEC and go 6-12, something went very wrong. But all right, Max, you're doing some laughing. Get to him.
Krusty's on fire right now.
Krusty's on a roll. I can tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
On a roll. His Hogs cannot
Oh.
beat the St. Agatha girls. School of the blind. Not the school of the blind. Okay, wait. And then it gets even worse. Well,
Oh, no.
yeah. Just us 3 on a neutral. Nonetheless, Krusty's rough night. Still here.
I disagree.
Still here.
Okay. I disagree. I think they could take us 3 on a neutral court. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they'd be fine with that.
Until they put you on the free throw line.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Zach says, $5 super chat. It's an Auburn fan. We had a pretty weak non-conference schedule last year. I think that factored into seeding. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but it's just silly, like the SEC tournament. Again, what is the motivation?
Yeah.
Yes, like I say that. Yes, teams want to win, all of this. I get it, but it's just like seeding-wise. Look, the Florida situation. Think about it, right?
I'm just going to bring that up.
Florida gets to the championship. Did it affect their seeding? No. And what happened? They lost a key player for not just the NCAA tournament. They lost him for this year too. And so what is the motivation if you're seeing that trend now play out? And like I said, it is the motivation of wanting to compete, and you're going to still applaud a championship. There's nothing wrong with that. But man, if I'm a coach, I'm pissed because I'm like, come on, like give us something out of this. But if you see that it don't mean anything, then I don't know. So,
well, back to Auburn last year. Auburn's issue, a lot of it was there just weren't a lot of big wins there.
Like to boost the resume up?
Yeah, I mean, like they were one of those teams that the computers loved, but when you looked at what was behind it, there was a bit of a disconnect. No, this year, best of all worlds for those guys. They looked the part. The computers love them. They've got a resume that's better than anybody else's in the country right now, in my mind. And I mean, unless I'd have to check Iowa State again, but it's not. Last I looked, it wasn't particularly close between them and anyone.
Yeah.
Quick pop quiz. Who was the leading rebounder in the SEC last year?
Oh, last year. Oh, boy. I have no
Oh,
idea.
come on. This is an easy one. I'm throwing you a
What was the
lob.
question?
I can't
Leading
remember
rebounder.
anything beyond this season.
SEC last
Was
year.
it not Broom?
Micah Henlockton.
For real?
There you go.
Man,
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that.
He had the fourth best offensive rebounding rate in the country.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, imagine Henlockton on this year's squad.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, think about that, right? If they had the rotation and he was featured in there, holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
My goodness. Yeah. So,
I mean, they already had two guys go 12 boards or more last night
yeah.
against a team that can rebound pretty well.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, Tennessee was providing a lot of rebounds, but still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to be loaded.
Gosh.
You never know with transfers, but, like, yes, if you just look at it, yeah, they're loaded. All right. We'll answer a couple more here on the way out. And then we've got the main event to get to. Don't worry. Who is? Oh, we said it. Somebody. Who's the most underrated team in the SEC? I would say it's Ole Miss after tonight. I still think Ole Miss is probably that team that is not gonna get a lot of attention. I mean, they're ranked in the top 25. Don't get me wrong, but like, they're not being talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like after tonight, say what you want about Arkansas struggling, but I would probably say Ole Miss. So.
James saying Vandy.
I don't know that anybody's super underrated. I think Mississippi State is maybe closer to that second tier than a lot of people know. That's when, and I think I maintain I think Missouri's a little better.
Ah, darn it! You stole mine. Yeah, you don't have to be sorry. Yeah,
we'll find out.
I would say Missouri, just because I feel like they're gonna get those huge wins at home. You know, they got the where is it down the stretch? Alabama. That's what it is. Yeah, they got Alabama and Kentucky at home. I bet they steal one of those.
I don't ever answer Missouri because I don't like to jinx my client. So,
yep,
I like to keep them out in the conversation.
Understood.
Yeah. All right, guys. What else you got? We'll wrap up here in just a few minutes.
Ooh, here's a good one from Matt. I think he's kind of talking prediction. Who's going to be the biggest breakout here? Entering,
that's a great one
in league play. Clarify that though, Matt, because if it's breakout so far, I would probably say Thero. But if we're predicting, could have a little bit of fun with this one.
Anthony Robinson would be on that list too if it's so far.
So I guess what's our definition of this? All right, Like, is it guys who have not yet broke out this season, or is it like just guys who are going to keep it going who have already kind of broken out this season? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
Adu Thero's had a great year. So, is he still qualified as a breakout candidate?
Darn it.
I'm asking. Like, it's fine if we are, but like, I don't
No,
know.
I mean, if it's so far, then I think he's got to be on that short list.
Okay.
I think going forward is a lot more interesting because
Going
that's
forward?
tough.
Yeah, let's do
I'll
going
say-
forward. Try to predict one.
Well, I mean, this one may be a little bit
Well-
of cheating, but I would say Alex Condon.
Okay. Because
Because I think he's going to be he's going to be the difference maker, I think, in a lot of games for Florida the rest of the way. If they're going to play as good as they did the other night, he had 12 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Like, I think he is someone that is as many guys as they have in that front court rotation. If he can be that kind of guy, Florida's going to win a lot of games because their guards they're locked in. So I would go Condon as one of my choices.
Let's just throw names out there for a minute. I'll give you one that I saw last night, and it's R.J. Melendez, who was great. And I was talking with Robbie Falk, who covers that beat, and we were just chatting. He said, that he's the perfect guy for James' system. So that's just one to keep in your back pocket.
yeah, Big Baller Brett stole mine. Chris Youngblood. Feel like we've just kind of
come on.
we've just kind of forgotten about him.
It's
We
a
haven't.
layup.
See, Alabama and Auburn are really hard because there's so many guys there. I don't know that one guy is going to get the chance to really bust out,
Ja'Kai Howard is another one. I've seen his name pop up in the chat.
Sure. I mean,
a few
you could
times.
name half of Alabama or Auburn. Big Cliff. I mean, and
Yeah.
here's another thing. Like, what's a breakout? Is it from what you've ever done? Is it from the baseline of what you've done this year? Because I think Big Cliff, you would have thought that would have gotten more out of him than they have. But
Hey, I'll
I
throw
mean,
you a
he
curveball
established
right
he
here.
was one of the nation's better rim protectors at Rutgers. So he's already sort of broken out in that regard.
Give me Eduardo Klafke, 3-point specialist off the bench for the Rebels. Eduardo Klaf 3, as some might like to call it. Give me Klafke for my underrated guy to break out. No one's talking about
All
Klaf
right.
3.
My other choice, Tyler Tanner. I updated the stats today on Twitter. If you saw, my guy, Tyler Tanner, has now gone 312 minutes played this season. 35 steals, 31 assists, 0 turnovers. 312 minutes. Incredible.
Is that a record?
Give him the
Do we know
keys.
yet?
Give him the keys, Mark Byington. Give him the keys to the show.
I would love to know what the most minutes someone has started their career without turning the ball over.
That's
Where's
probably
ESPN
right
stats
there.
and info when we need them?
I'll look that up. I'll reach out via email and
Yep.
find that answer.
Oh, we
All
have
right.
a cool little note here. I think he's talking to Ant Robinson. Had just gotten over the stomach flu. That's another thing, guys. Like, we'll come on here and we'll react, and we'll be like, man, didn't like what I saw from this. Didn't like what I see from that. And then 2 days later, we'll read like a tweet from their dad or something. And it's like, he's been playing through the flu. He barely got out of bed or something like that. And we're like, well, would have been nice to know he had the flu. I think it was Boogie Flan that had it this past week. Had no clue.
Yep. We need Chris to go back and get his medical degree. We need him tapped in on the injury report. So, Matt trying to push Ask Anything Wednesday. So I guess that's where we are. We're on Ask Anything Wednesday. Ask Anything on Wednesday. So there you go.
I'll give you one more. I don't think we've talked about this guy for a total of 2 minutes all year. Tremont Mark.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
again,
about
it's not a breakout because he's done plenty of good stuff at 2 other stops. But I'm just saying this year, like I'm looking at his stat line. I don't think he's scored more than 15 in a game yet. He hasn't.
Well,
And
wasn't
maybe
he injured also?
Maybe it's. I think he was
Start
to
the
start the
year.
year.
Start the year, yeah.
Start the year.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to instead of breakout wouldn't be the word, but like a guy who could be much more of a factor right now than he's been.
Yeah.
And then Trevon Brazile is the same thing, or Edu, if we want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could really pick the whole Arkansas lineup. And Nelly
See,
Davis.
that's the crazy thing. Like, this league has got more great players than I could even rank, and it's got this whole other little list of guys like that have been stars before, and because of injury or whatever, just have not lived up to expectations.
Krusty's on fire tonight. Killing it. Just killing it in the comments.
That's probably what it is as much as anything.
Uh-oh, Chris, we got a little lag. Let him catch up.
Okay, breakout would not be the right word, but guy who can play at a level above what we've seen. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Fair.
I'll take it.
All right. Again, guys, a lot of you in here. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on notifications so you know we're going live tomorrow morning. Because, I mean, we just keep going live here. We'll have our predictions tomorrow for every Saturday game. So they'll be up. You'll know exactly who to pick against when we pick them. So Southeastern 16 Kiss of Death in full effect now this season. So, yeah, we will continue to have that discussion with our picks and everything. And let's see, what else do we have here before we get to the good stuff. Matt, I love you guys. Still waiting to see if it's worth hitting the like button. Unbelievable, this guy. I mean, look, I think this is an interesting question. All right. Does Arkansas make the tournament? Man, I tell you, that question is becoming a little bit more difficult right now because what is their signature win to this point, right? They got one.
Michigan.
That's it. Like, legitimately, that's it. So, had a chance against Tennessee, had a chance at home against Ole Miss. That would have been a signature win. Got a chance on Saturday against Florida. If they don't win that one, there's plenty of opportunities left. But, again, staring down the idea of 0-3, Ken Palm has them going 7-11 in the SEC right now. I said I think there's a 7-11 team that can get in. I don't know that 7-11 team is Arkansas. Unless, right? Because it's a combination of wins and losses. Like, we have to see who they beat and who they don't, right? But it's going to be tough. So
there's something weird in the water there too, though. This is like the 5th straight year they've had a slow start in league play. I don't know how valid that is for anything because the players are very different and the coach is different now too. But it just seems like they do this every year. Like the first 2 weeks of January, they're just not. It's not happening for them.
Were any of us like almost screaming into our microphone about how important that Michigan game was when we were previewing it? Imagine they didn't sneak that one out. It was 2-point win. And because that question's being asked, if they don't get that Michigan game right now, the answer is no.
No,
like,
they wouldn't be in.
Emphatically, their best win would be Lipscomb.
Yep.
So that Michigan win right now it's their lifeline.
Yep.
Got a few super chats we missed.
A couple super chats, and then we'll get to the main event.
Tony.
Where is it?
Tony, $9.99. Tony, taking a jab. Hey, that's what we're here to do. Tony's laughing. Yep.
Very interesting. All right. It's time. So, before we get there, Michael's asking about when we're selling shirts. Max, I think I saw that somewhere.
Right there.
There you go. Michael's asking.
Kiss of Death shirts.
He wants to know when the Kiss of Death shirts are being sold. We'll work on that. We'll get our merch store up and running. If you want to run our merch store, let us know. But all right, let's see. Krusty continuing his run of great comments tonight. He has a better chance of Sydney Sweeney being in his bed right now than Hogs making the dance. Well, good luck to Krusty.
He's gonna go check.
Report back on what you find. All right. So, okay. Now, we have to ask ourselves, okay? It's getting a little chilly outside. Chris is reacting to plays on the screen here.
Body slammed in the lane.
In Norman. Also, Skylar asked earlier that we need some super chats for stuff on the wall behind us. Max and I are going bare here on the walls, that is. Yeah, Chris has got all kinds of stuff going on behind him. But
I've got like 4 frames ready to hang up. I just got to get off my butt, stop being lazy, and put them up. But we're too busy on here.
It's our 10th stream, as we said, since Friday. So we're too busy doing stuff, and it's just, that's how it works. But, Max, I hear a knock at your door.
I was waiting for something. Yeah. I think I do too.
Can you go see who's there? I'd like you to go see who's there, please.
You're being called out on this, by the way.
Hold on. I got to give me a second. I'm getting a phone call, guys.
All right. Max has got a call here. Max, who is it? Who's on the phone?
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but they told me whatever hassles I have, they'll get rid of them.
Wow.
Does that apply to coach interviews?
Well, that's quite a comment there. We need to get Matt's comment off the screen because we all know what's coming, and that's Sanders Logistics. Because whether you're coming or going, Sanders Logistics has you covered. And it's still on the screen. It shouldn't be, but we're going to take it off the screen now because Ted R. Sanders would not approve of that little botch right there. Because Sanders Logistics, formerly known as Ted R. Sanders Moving, a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. And it's a rerun here. Come on, this wasn't rehearsed at all, folks. I'm in the middle of a read here.
Matt, how can you tell?
This was not rehearsed. Max and I did not bring any props in for this, okay? Because, as we said, I don't know where I'm at in the ad read here, Sanders Logistics is a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. I may have already said that, but I just want to repeat it because sometimes if you repeat things, it'll go through and you'll understand it better. Their team of professional movers are focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price. Efficient, hassle-free moving. Now, we did have a question earlier. Skylar asked, when is Chris Lee getting some facial hair? He's the odd man out right now. Maybe Sanders Logistics can move some of that from the goodness that is Blake's beard and the goodness that is Max Barr's mustache over to Chris Lee. Can you imagine Chris Lee with a full beard and full mustache? If you can, then call Sanders Logistics and tell them that you want them to not only move your stuff anywhere in the world, actually I think it's just in this country, but we're just going to say anywhere in the world at an affordable price, and you also want to move some facial hair. And see what they say. If they hang up on you, let us know. We'll let them know it's not as creepy as it sounds. Because whether you are moving across town or across the country or moving facial hair, Sanders Logistics has you covered. They'll do it anything. Just facial hair. Sanders Logistics has you covered. Visit them at tedrsandersmoving.com.
Beautiful. Mother Carol, please, she needs a 30-minute warning. She has to prepare. Blake, did you tweet it out? Blake, usually Blake or I will tweet out when we're going.
Yeah. Sorry, we're not the best at this. We've done so many streams that these just kind of they're all over the place. But we do our best here to try to give you the 30-minute warning. Tomorrow morning, we're letting you know now. We're going to give you a 12-hour warning, or maybe a little bit less than that. We're going to go live around I don't know. 8:30 or 9. It's one of the two tomorrow.
We will
maybe
be live
8:30
tomorrow
Central.
morning.
Maybe 9 Central. It'll be one of the two tomorrow morning. Yeah. And again, we'll talk about Texas A&M, Oklahoma. So, yeah. There you have it. All right.
What
The
else
numbers
we
are
got?
going up
Are we wrapping up?
as we get out here, but I know it's because of Sandals Logistics. Everybody tunes in for the damn ad read. So, who cares about the basketball? These guys just want to talk about the read. So, all right. I'm out of here. Guys, leave your emojis on the way out. As always,
Donovan
I like to
left
get
a
your
super
emojis.
sticker. Donovan must be the only one that knows how to do a super sticker because I've never seen one from anyone else other than Donovan. Might be he might have a little loophole. Yep, there's
the super stickers.
There's Brett with his Philon. We got to do a title at least once this year, Blake, with Philon in it, but then the other stuff has PH in front of it also.
Yeah. Here's a great question. So, we've got to come up with something that, as Krusty says here, we got to come up with some kind of like deal to where Chris Lee will get a Sanders Logistics tattoo. Can we do that? You think?
Yep.
It's got to be something.
I know a guy.
How about this? If Auburn wins the league, Chris has to get a Sanders Logistics tattoo.
Oh, come on.
Is that fair? I mean,
yes.
I feel like that's fair. All right. Seems fair to me. All right. Listen, you come for the basketball talk. This show runs off the rails usually by the end. But if you're hanging around, you know that by now. I mean, Oklahoma is just, they're just taking it to the Aggies right now. But we'll talk about it tomorrow. How about that? So,
remember, if they lose, doesn't count. If they win, best win ever. The rules. I don't make them.
That's the rules. So, all right. We appreciate you guys. Hey, chime in. What coaches you want to see on the show? Chime in the tweet that I dropped. Let me drop it in the chat real quick. Chime in. Add your answers. We got some of the most upvoted answers.
Grad
Doesn't matter.
assistants.
Anybody. Don't matter. Let me find the tweet for you. I'm going to throw it in here. Who do you want to see on the channel? We do this for you guys. We try to promote the game. All right? Who do you want to see? Let us know. We're putting the work in to try to get you guys what you want here on the channel. Leaving the tweet there.
If you want to see our interview with Scott Padgett, Mississippi State, go back to our marathon stream, and it's in the timestamps in the description. It was way back, but we did see a Keyshawn Murphy. Someone picked in the chat said Keyshawn Murphy breakout player of the year. Scott's got a nice little story on how they go way back. So check out that. It's at the marathon. Go to the timestamps. You'll be able to just skip right to the Scott Padgett interview.
There you go. All right. We're out of here. Big weekend ahead in SEC
We are
basketball.
out of here. Yeah, we're still watching games as we're doing this. Oklahoma's up 10 on A&M. We'll hit that one tomorrow. Whatever basketball topics there are, whatever you guys want to talk. I feel like this is being directed more by whatever a lot of times you guys want to talk about, which is great. I mean, we're here for that. It's been fun. I mean, we've really wanted to do a show like this for a long time, and I'm glad it's happening. I really am. This is a blast. We've got plenty more coming. I am doing our baseball prep. We've got some of that at some point when we come up for air from this. And just lots of fun stuff. We got a football game Friday. All kinds of fun here. Got to get Blake some heat. It's going to get cold here. Really cold. We're getting, 4 to 7 inches of snow, Blake?
Yeah, it's going to be a party. I may stream from outside in the snow on Friday. What do you guys think about that? If we go live on Friday morning, I will stream from outside in the snow. How about that?
Deal.
All right.
Is your kid in the snow yet at 2, or does he know what's going on?
Oh, he knows what snow is. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for watching. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow. For Max Barr, Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. Thanks for watching us here at Southeastern 16.